DevOps is getting more and more important each day, each year. Isn't it, Jesper?
It is. It is definitely. It's a culture and a way of developing software that has been getting more and more important over the last 10 years, and it's gotten a name now, DevOps. It hasn't had that for many years. And I see in many of the projects where I participate, I'm a consultant from Lund and Benson. I see in many of my projects that businesses want to create DevOps departments or DevOps culture.
How did this DevOps thing get to be so important nowadays? I mean, what happened? What was the trigger that made this happening?
The main point that DevOps addresses in software development is the separation of work between departments. Really, you have an operations department and a development department. That's where the word comes from, DevOps, the name. And what used to happen was that the developers, they made some code and then they just gave that code to the operations, and the operations had no idea what was inside the code, had no feeling with it, but they had to continue working with it, and that often it doesn't go very well often because there's a lot of communication missing. So to close the gap, we put the operations and the developers together, working together in a team. And then we have this kind of cross functional role, the DevOps. So he's building the bridge between the operations and the development.
So, do you think for a developer it's important to make this step, to take this challenge and embrace this whole DevOps world?
Yeah, what I see in many organizations is that what is really happening is that we're just building another gap. Now you have the developers and then you have the DevOps, and the developers, they don't want to touch the DevOps, they're scared of it, and that's really just back to where we were with the operations, more gaps. So I think it's vital for the organizations that they encourage their developers to take part in the operations bit. And I think it's vital for developers to accept that the world is changing, that they are they no longer live in Java land alone. They also need to understand more about the surrounding systems, what we call infrastructure.
Let's talk about the future. What do you think would be the next steps? I mean, let's guess, let's wonder. Next steps this DevOps world would approach to.
Well, I think definitely we're maturing this concept right now in the organizations around the world, and I think that needs to solidify a bit. Once that is done, I think that the abstraction level of technologies as such is becoming higher and higher, meaning that we used to deploy machines, virtual machines. Now we're deploying containers. That abstraction level will become even higher. So the focus of DevOps will follow that abstraction. So what it will be, I don't know, but
so it's not a trend, certainly.
It's not a trend.
I mean, it's a thing that's here to stay.
It's a thing that's here to stay.
Not a fashion.
It's not a fashion. No, it's here to stay, but it will change and evolve.
Okay, so thank you for your time, Jesper, and see you around the conference.